You have reached the Geek Elite. Good luck.
I know what you're thinking. Did he fire 6 shots or only 5? Well, to tell you the truth, in all this excitement, I've kind of lost track myself. But being this is a 44 Magnum, the most powerful handgun in the world, and would blow your head clean off, you've got to ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
Okay, on tonight's episode, I feel like we are combining, or at least they made a movie that combines our two loves, or at least they tried to, Richard, right? With movies and video games.
Oh yes, yeah, I would agree. It's interesting because it's like it's not a video game adaptation, but it's like a video game movie.
Yeah, it has the feel of video game, kind of like Hardcore Henry, right?
I guess. I don't know. I feel like this. I don't know. I feel like this is even a little bit more video gamey than Hardcore Henry in a weird way, I guess.
That's fair. So we are going to be talking about Boss Level, which I believe is found on Hulu, right?
Yes.
Yes, Hulu.
Yeah, it was Hulu.
It was a Hulu exclusive.
March 5th, I think, is when it
March
released.
5th, is when it came out. So we are going to be talking about Boss Level. We're going to get into a review discussion about that. But first, Richard and I are going to talk about the Oscar nominations that happened earlier this week. Was there anything that you saw this year, which I know, once again, wasn't a lot, that you were expecting to see on the Oscar nominations? Now, to be fair, you hadn't watched a lot of movies because you just hadn't watched a lot of movies, but then there weren't a lot of movies to watch because of the pandemic.
That is true. So I guess I should preface this by saying I haven't looked at any of the nominations yet, so I don't know what any of them are.
That's good. So then what you would expect, what you thought to expect, I would want to know.
Yes. So the Trial of the Chicago 7, I would absolutely expect to be on there somewhere.
It's on there.
Mank is another one.
That is also on there.
I haven't seen this, but Nomadland
is on there.
Just, based off of like the trailers and the things I've been hearing, I would assume that would be on there. Partly because of the Golden Globes, The Father, I would also assume, since that kind of did what that did, I would assume that would be on there.
You're firing somewhere on all cylinders.
I think that might be where I'm running out of steam, though. I mean, there's not a lot, so I mean, maybe a promising young woman might have snuck in there.
It also did make it into Best Picture nomination.
And gosh, what's the other one that I haven't seen this one either, but I keep seeing advertisements for it. It's something in the Black Messiah. I want to watch it, but I can't.
Judas and the Black Messiah, which is on HBO Max.
I don't know if that, I mean, I feel like based on the trailer, that does feel like a more Oscar-y type of movie, but I mean, I haven't seen them. So some of that's just kind of like preemptive judgment calls and things based off of the Golden Globes. But yeah, I don't know. That's kind of, I think, where it ends for me.
That's fair. So the only one that you missed, the only two that you missed from the Best Picture nominations is Minari and Sound of Metal.
Yes, I haven't heard of either of those.
Minari
is the Sound of Metal a documentary?
It is not. It is a movie about a drummer in a band who starts to go deaf.
Oh,
and it's Riz Ahmed is the star of that, and it's supposedly really good. So obviously, being the Best Picture nomination, I know that in the past that knowing about the Oscars, you know that there is allowed to be up to 10 nominations for Best Picture, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have 8 here. Don't know if they just didn't want to put in the last two, or they just didn't feel like there was enough, or there was anything that was worthy enough. But Best Picture nominations are The Father, Judas and the Black Messiah, Mank, Minari, Nomadland, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, and The Trial of the Chicago 7.
What is Minari? Because I don't think I've heard of that one either.
So Minari takes place, I believe, in the 1990s, and it is about I want to say Korean family that migrates to the south somewhere and starts a farm. The south of America, not Southern America, but like the southern part of the United States.
Okay.
I don't know too much about it. I know that it stars Stephen Yeun, who of
Walking Dead fame.
Walking Dead fame, that's correct. And soon to be the Invincible. He's the voice of Grayson something. I forget what his last name, but the character Invincible. So yeah, but I have heard it is good. So those are your 8 nominees for that. We have actress in a supporting role, Maria Balaklava for Borat's subsequent movie film, Glenn Close for Hillbilly Elegy, Olivia Colman for The Father, Amanda Seyfried for Mank, and Yoon Yoo-jung for Minari. A lot of the same names that we saw at the Golden Globes.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like that's pretty normal.
It's
like,
pretty
usually
standard.
The Golden
right?
Globes are a pretty good predictor of where the Oscars might go.
Right. Actor in a supporting role: Sacha Baron Cohen, The Trial of the Chicago 7, Daniel Kaluuya, Judas and the Black Messiah, Leslie Odom Jr., One Night in Miami, Paul Raci, Sound of Metal, and Lakeith Stanfield. Judas and the Black Messiah. Now, I know that we watched One Night in Miami, and I think that's the only... Oh, and the Trial of the Chicago 7. So you have all those. International feature film, Another Round, Denmark, Better Days, Hong Kong, Collective, Romania, The Man Who Sold His Skin, Tanzania, Q Vadis Ada, Bosnia, and Herzegovina. I am so sorry. I am dumb. Documentary short, Colette, A Concerto in a Conversation, Do Not Split, Hunger Ward, A Love Song for Latasha. You try to watch the shorts, right?
I traditionally have tried to watch them in the past. I know some of they used to have like a event here where you could go and pay like a little bit more or more than a normal ticket price, and you could watch all the nominated shorts. Obviously, I don't think they're going to do that this year, and I know they didn't do it last year, so that I think kind of limits your ability to kind of watch those. But yeah, traditionally, I have tried to watch. I have tried to watch them. Yeah.
Documentary feature, Collective, Crip Camp, The Mole Agent, My Octopus Teacher, and Time. Now, I think Crip Camp and My Octopus Teacher are both available on Netflix. I don't know about the other 3.
Yeah, I don't either. Yeah, the 2 that you said, definitely, I've heard of them on platforms, but the other ones I don't know.
Original song, Fight for You from Judas and the Black Messiah, Fear My Voice from the Trial of the Chicago 7, Husavik from Eurovision Song Contest, The Story of Fire Saga, Losi Scene from The Life Ahead, La Vida Davanti Assay, Speak Now from One Night in Miami. Now we know the Speak Now one. Do you remember Hear My Voice from the Trial of Chicago 7?
No.
And did you watch the Will Ferrell, Rachel McAdams Eurovision movie that was on Netflix?
I did. Okay, yeah, I did watch it. Yeah.
How is that song, the Husavik?
I mean, I don't know that I remember exactly what song that is.
I would assume it's the main song, the song that they put into the contest. I don't know. I didn't watch the movie.
It could be. I don't know. I thought the movie was pretty funny.
Okay.
The music's fine. I mean, it's not like it's bad music or anything.
Animated feature film, Onward, Over the Moon, a Shaun the Sheep movie, Farmageddon, Soul, and Wolfwalkers. Wolfwalkers that's the animated one that's on Apple TV, right? Apple TV Plus?
I believe so.
Okay, that's what I thought. And I saw Soul and I saw Onward. Does this one traditionally go to a Pixar or a Disney?
I mean, I would have to venture a guess and say probably. I mean, Pixar is usually a pretty dominant force within animation, but I mean, you never know though. I mean, obviously the Wolfwalkers thing could I mean, I don't know. I haven't watched Onward. Did you like Onward?
I liked Onward. I mean, I liked it just fine. There wasn't nothing that blew me away. Same with Soul. Nothing blew me away in it. I know I hear a lot about Over the Moon, but I didn't see it myself. And a Shaun the Sheep movie. I know a lot. There's a lot of those Shaun the Sheep movies.
Yeah.
I've never watched one though, so I don't know. There's nothing I can really say about that. I mean, this is a great movie podcast that we talk about all the movies that we've not watched.
Not seen yet. But I feel like this is pretty, I don't know. I feel like previously we have like, I don't know. It feels like we usually have more of like heads up on kind of like the Oscar stuff. And like traditionally it's easier to go see a lot of these movies, and that's been slowed down and hindered. I mean, I haven't seen Onward, but I did watch Soul. And I mean, I agree with you. I think it's a really good movie. It's not what I was expecting it to be, but I think it's really good.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think some of the things that present more of a unique challenge is traditionally, like you said, we could just go watch these in the theater. Whereas now it's like, okay, well, do we have the streaming platform that it's on? Like, there's so much more, you know, dynamics to it this year than previously that I think make it logistically a little bit harder. So I feel like we're not going to be the only ones. I feel like a lot of people that listen to this are going to be in the same type of situation where they're like, oh, I've heard of it, but haven't watched it, you know?
Well, I just say that you need to go and be a part of the Academy already so you can start getting screeners and let me watch with you.
That would be awesome. I mean, if anybody wants to make that happen, I would be totally down to, I promise you this, if you do put me on that, I will watch all of them before I cast my vote.
Good. That's better than most, as I hear.
Yeah, that's what I hear too.
Adapted screenplay, Borat subsequent movie film, The Father, Nomadland, One Night in Miami, and The White Tiger, which I also heard good things about The White Tiger. Didn't see it myself, though. Original screenplay, Judas and the Black Messiah, Minari, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, The Trial of Chicago 7. Now, I know for a fact that you've seen Promising Young Woman and Trial of Chicago 7. Of those two, for screenplay, which one did you like better?
Oh, man. I think it's really tough because they're actually, I mean, they're very, very different films. I really do kind of like the approach to Promising Young Woman. I think there's a lot of really creative things there. And I think it's a very, you know, up-to-date current story, right? It's very relevant, of course. But I mean, I don't know. The Trial of Chicago 7, I feel like that one's gonna edge it out just a little bit because it's super historic. It's super relevant right now. Yeah, I feel like maybe the Trial of the Chicago 7 edges that out, at least between those two anyway.
Actor in a leading role, Riz Ahmed for Sound of Music, Chadwick Boseman, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Anthony Hopkins, The Father, Gary Oldman, Mank, and Stephen Yeun, Minari. Actress in a leading role, Viola Davis, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Andre Day, The United States versus Billie Holiday, Vanessa Curry, Pieces of a Woman, Frances McDormand, Nomadland, Carey Mulligan, Promising Young Woman. Do you know, and it's okay if you don't, but do you know the rules on how do they determine who is an actor in a leading role, or if it's a leading role or supporting role? Because like this has Chadwick Boseman and Viola Davis both in leading role, whereas you go back to supporting role, actor in a supporting role, Lakeith Stanfield and Daniel Kaluuya for Judas and the Black Messiah. Like they're both nominated as supporting role in that, when from all I understand is that they're both the lead actors in that movie.
I mean, yeah, knowing that I don't know the official rules off the top of my head, and I don't know if, if or when they've been changed. My best guess is it probably has something to do with credits and billing in terms of the cast. It probably has more to do with that than anything, I would speculate.
Okay, interesting. Director Thomas Vinterberg for Another Round, David Fincher, Mank, Lee Isaac Chung, Minari, Chloe Zhao, Nomadland, and Emerald Fennell for Promising Young Woman. I've heard good things about Another Round also, which I know that it used to be an old, like, Telltale. If the director won, that more than likely that picture was also going to win, but I don't think that's happened as much in the last few years, right?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, they kind of like traditionally have been parallels between that, but yeah, it's kind of a predictor, but it's not a guarantee. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Production design: The Father, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Mank, News of the World, and Tenet. Now, we both watched Tenet, and I watched News of the World. I would definitely say, like, Tenet has a really cool production design. So does Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. I did watch that, too.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely want to try to watch some of these other movies, but, I mean, Tenet is crazy, though, because some of the set pieces and things like that they had to do, and this stuff with like, there's so much practical stuff, like kind of like reverse imploding a building that, like, I was reading something on that they were doing for the final battle sequence. And that's not to take anything away from any of the other ones, because that's not the end all be all thing of just production design. But that had really good production design, as did Mank. But I would be very curious to watch Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, News of the World, and The Father, just to see, kind of how those might stack up. Because I feel like News of the World is somewhat already at a disadvantage, because it's a disadvantage, but sort of not at the same time, because it's a period piece. So obviously you do need to put a lot of thought into the production design. But I also feel like, with that being the case and it being more of a Western, I feel like in some capacity that maybe does also limit what you can do with the production design. So yeah, I'd be interested to see. Did you watch News of the World?
I did. I very much did.
Did you enjoy it? And not just from the production design, but overall, like, was it good? Did you enjoy it?
I did. I enjoyed the movie a lot. I thought Tom Hanks did a really good role. It's not as great as some of his other big roles, but like, it's still a really good movie. The young actress in it does a phenomenal job. Like, I always throw out like young actors, because it's rare that you find one that's good. So when one's good, it really sticks out to me.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I think it's I don't know. You get like some kids that are just like almost, what's the word? Prodigy. They're almost like a acting prodigy in some instances, and then other times you're just like, oh, well, I mean, they're a kid. They did the best they could, and that happens. Doesn't really seem to be a whole lot of middle ground and like really, really young actors,
Mm-hmm. Cinematography: Sean Bobbitt for Judas and the Black Messiah, Eric Messerschmidt for Mank, Darius Wolski for News of the World, Joshua James Richards for Nomadland, and Fadon Papamichael, The Trial of the Chicago 7. Familiar with any of these people's work?
Sadly, not off the top of my head by their name. When are the Oscars this year? Do we know when they're airing? Is it April?
That's a very good question.
Okay,
Let's see. The 93rd, 10 nods. April 25th.
Okay, April 25th. Okay, so I'm going to try to watch all of the Best Picture nominees at minimum, and maybe I can also watch the Best Cinematography ones too, hopefully.
You'll have a couple of them already down with Mank and Trial of the Chicago 7, so
I got that, and Promising Young Woman. So we got three out of 3 out of the 8, I think.
I definitely want to watch Nomadland, so maybe we'll save that one for a review. And Judas and the Black Messiah. So
yeah, that would be cool. I'd love to talk about that one too, because that's Ryan Coogler, and I like a lot of his films and stuff. So I'd be really interested to see what he did with that.
Yeah, exactly. Costume design: Emma, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Mank, Mulan, and Pinocchio. There was a Pinocchio that came out this past year?
Yes. Yeah, weird, right?
I don't even remember that. Who was in it?
No one. No, I'm trying to remember. No one, honestly, that I could name.
Okay, because I
feel like it had mostly like this might be completely racist, but I feel like it had mostly like Italian actors and locations.
Huh. I know there's the Disney Pinocchio movie that's going to be coming out like in the future with Tom Hanks as Geppetto. Yeah,
this was definitely not Disney. And I feel like it was almost, I don't know. It was kind of definitely out of left field.
Is it Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio?
No. It was Matteo something. Matteo. Oh my gosh, what was his last name? Garone or something like that.
Here I'm looking up. Yeah, Garone. You're right. Matteo Garone.
Yeah.
Italian movie. Okay, interesting.
And so if I remember correctly, he also did the screenplay, but the screenplay was very heavily based off of the novel.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't think it's gonna really have too many people in the cast that most American audiences would recognize. I don't think.
This is the one with Roberto Benigni in it, playing Geppetto, when he had played Pinocchio like years ago.
Yes, that's okay. I know who you're talking about now. Yes.
Interesting.
That is the one. Yes.
Okay, good to know. Achievement in sound: Greyhound, Mank, News of the World, Soul, and Sound of Metal. I didn't get to watch Greyhound. Did you watch Greyhound? That was another Apple TV Plus movie after with Tom Hanks as the sub captain.
No, I didn't actually get a chance to watch that either. But I do have Apple TV Plus now, so maybe I could actually finally watch it.
Okay, give me a report back when you do.
Yeah.
Animated short film: Burrow, Genius Loci, If Anything Happens, I Love You, Opera, and Yes People. Live action short film: Filling Through, The Letter Room, The Present, Two Distant Strangers, and White Eye. Original score: The Five Bloods, Mank, Minari, News of the World, and Soul. The Five Bloods, this is a new one from what we read tonight so far, but we did also watch that one. Visual effects: Love and Monsters, The Midnight Sky, Mulan, The One and Only Ivan, Tenet, not Titan. I watched The Midnight Sky, I think. I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, that was the George Clooney movie. That was pretty good. I can see why they would do the visual effects for that one. I didn't watch The One and Only Ivan. That's the gorilla movie, right?
I don't know.
Does that not one sound familiar?
It does not. But again, I guess that shouldn't come as too much of a surprise, unfortunately, because I haven't been keeping up broad strokes with everything that's coming out. Unfortunately, I've just been really dialed in on like what we've been kind of watching for the podcast. Which is crazy because it's actually starting to sound like there's a lot more interesting films that came out that I just didn't hear about. And it's so fascinating to think if that's, I mean, obviously it's because of the pandemic in a certain capacity, but it's also, I wonder what kind of impact it's having on all of these films' numbers, because, I wonder how many people are like, yeah, I'd never heard of that.
So yes, The One and Only Ivan is a gorilla movie, and it was on Disney Plus. I don't think it was originally supposed to go to Disney Plus, but it did end up going to Disney Plus. And some of the cast members are Sam Rockwell, Bryan Cranston, Angelina Jolie, Danny DeVito.
I would watch the hell out of this. Why have I never heard of this?
Yeah, exactly. Yet neither one of us watched it with a cast like that. Very interesting.
When did that come out? Does it say?
It said, I know it said August of 2020 for France. So I don't know if that meant it was the same time in America or not. Film editing: The Father, Nomadland, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Music, Sound of Metal, The Trial of the Chicago 7, Makeup and hairstyling: Emma, Hillbilly Elegy, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Mank, and Pinocchio. So that's all the nominations for the Oscars 2021 or the Academy Awards. Did you? I don't know if we talked about it. Did you end up watching the Golden Globes?
I did not. No, I didn't have a chance.
Yeah, I didn't watch it either. But with all the, like, everybody was, at home and there was all Zoom calls and stuff like that. I just wondered, what did you think of the production, if you saw it or if you got to see any clips of it? And do you think they'll be doing the same for the Academy Awards?
I mean, I'm pretty sure they're going to probably do the same thing at this point, right? I mean, it seems kind of like that's just where we're at for the time being. So I wouldn't expect it to be any different. Is that going to change the show and the formatting? Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if it's going to be for better or worse. I mean, I guess we'll find out, but.
And then over on the other side is the Razzies. People don't know the Golden Raspberries. Like, yeah, we don't need to sit here and just harp on movies that people are saying are bad or anything. But I think it's interesting just to see what the zeitgeist has decided is bad, if that's the way you want to look at it. So, Worst Picture, 365 Days, Absolute Proof, Doolittle, Fantasy Island, and Music. I saw Doolittle and I saw Fantasy Island. I did think Doolittle was not a good movie, and I thought Fantasy Island was not a bad movie if it's the one with Michael Pena. Worst actor: Robert Downey Jr. for Doolittle, Mike Lindell, Absolute Proof, Michelle Marone, 365 Days, Adam Sandler, Hubie Halloween, David Spade, The Wrong Missy. I don't know what 365 Days is. I don't know what Absolute Proof is. Adam Sandler, Hubie Halloween, and David Spade, The Wrong Missy. Now, those are both, Adam Sandler's production company's movies made for Netflix. And I know I wanted to watch Hubie Halloween just because I thought maybe it might be funny, but I never got around to watching it. And I tired of David Spade a long time ago, so I didn't even was like, not looking into that movie.
Yeah, I have not heard anything good about the Halloween one. No, I have not heard anyone that's like, yeah, it was good. Like, I don't know. That doesn't necessarily mean anything, of
That's
course,
fair.
but yeah, I have not heard anything good about that. So I'm not surprised, I guess is what I'm saying. I'm not surprised that's on here.
Worst actress: Anne Hathaway, The Last Thing He Wanted, Katie Holmes, Brahms, The Boy 2, Kate Hudson, Music, Lauren Lapkus, The Wrong Missy, Anna Maria Sikluka for 365 Days. Worst supporting actress: Glenn Close, Hillbilly Elegy, Lucy Hale, Fantasy Island, Maggie Q, Fantasy Island, Kristen Wiig, Wonder Woman 1984, and Maddie Ziegler, Music. So wasn't Glenn Close, Hillbilly Elegy also up for Best Supporting Actress?
Yeah.
Did I not read that off?
I thought you did.
I need to look that up now. So apparently it is.
Might have been when we had the technical difficulties. I don't know.
When it was the Fantasy Island that I was talking of with Michael Pena in it, and I thought that was a pretty good movie for what it was. Wasn't expecting anything big from it. Glenn Close has gone without an Oscar nom.
Well, to give you some context, at least about 365, not that we care at all about Rotten Tomato, because personally I think it's obviously arbitrary number systems I think are kind of silly, but check this out. So 365 Days, you want to take a guess what its tomato meter is based off of 16, I guess, quote unquote, critic reviews?
If it's getting a Razzie, I'm going to say around 19%.
Zero.
A straight
It
up
has
zero.
a 0% by 16 reviewers and an audience score of 29% by over 1,000 plus ratings. So I guess that movie's just not good, but I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen it.
So yes, I think if I'm reading this right, Glenn Close is both nominated for Best Supporting Actress in as an Oscar, and then Worst Supporting Actress as a Razzie for Hillbilly Elegy. Like, I don't know how that works.
I don't either.
And I also have to say, I think Kristen Wiig was the best thing about Wonder Woman 1984, honestly. Like, I liked her in the movie. Her character, maybe not so much, but I thought she did great.
I totally agree. I think she did really well, too, for a movie that also should probably be on the Razzies list somewhere, because that movie was not good either.
Exactly.
I don't know if it was 365 Days bad, but I mean, it was pretty bad.
Worst Supporting Actor, Chevy Chase, the very excellent Mr. Dundee, Rudy Giuliani, Borat's subsequent movie film, Wow, Shia LaBeouf, the Tax Collector, that was a movie that we talked about, Arnold Schwarzenegger,
that's on there.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, Iron Mask, and Bruce Willis, Breach, Hard Kill, and Survive the Night. He got nominated for 3 movies.
Dang. Dang.
Oh, wow. I mean, if you would have just got Stallone in there, they would have had all of the Planet Hollywood guys in the one category. Worst screen combo, Maria Bakalova and Rudy Giuliani for Borat's subsequent movie film, Robert Downey Jr. and his utterly unconvincing Welsh accent for Dolittle, Harrison Ford and the totally fake-looking CGI dog for The Call of the Wild, Lauren Lapkus and David Spade for The Wrong Missy, and Adam Sandler in his grating simpleton voice for Hubie Halloween. Oof. Worst director, Charles Band, all 3 Barbie and Kendra movies. Barbara Baialoas and Tomas Mondes for 365 Days. Stephen Gagan for Dolittle. Ron Howard for Hillbilly Elegy. And Sia for music. So this is a movie that was directed by the artist Sia? The musician Sia? Sure. Worst screenplay, 365 Days, all 3 Barbie and Kendra movies, Dolittle, Fantasy Island, and Hillbilly Elegy. Worst remake, ripoff, or sequel, 365 Days, Dolittle, Fantasy Island, Hubie Halloween, and Wonder Woman 1984. Well, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm not super surprised that Wonder Woman 1984 is on there. Like, again, it's like True Detective. First season, some of the best television ever made. Second season, some of basically what happened with Wonder Woman.
Fair. Okay, there you go. That's the Oscars and the Golden Raspberries. Let's get into talking about Boss Level. Going into this movie, I had, I guess, high expectations. It looked fun. I love time loop movies, and I think Frank Grillo is fun to watch on the big screen. Like, I think the guy is charming. He's obviously very athletic, and is just shy of being a leading man. Like, obviously they are putting him in leading man roles. I just don't think he has just enough chops to put him over, but I love everything that I see him in, if that makes any sense.
No, I agree. I'll watch him in anything. I still think he should have been the Punisher. Like, the Purge movie that he is in is like by far one of the best Punisher movies we've gotten. Like,
he's in 2 Purge movies.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, I think it's the first one he was in. Maybe.
Yeah, the first one he was in is definitely a Punisher movie, and a very good Punisher movie.
Oh, it's so good. I'm like, this guy would be amazing. So Marvel, if you're listening,
they already put him in a movie.
If you're gonna reboot it or do a movie, let's go.
Well, he was already Crossbones in the Marvel universe.
Doesn't matter. We're at a point where every actor is gonna play multiple roles anyway. Doesn't matter. All in. Bring it back. Frank Castle this up. Let's go.
Fair. Okay. And for I think he's like over 50 and
He's 55.
He's 55 and rocking
He's 55.
that body. Like in the movie, they make sure to show you his, naked torso many times over.
I mean, if I look like that, it'd be in my contract too. I'd be like, I'll wear a helmet the whole movie, but I'm going shirtless.
So yes, this movie had everything going for it for me, but it just did not land. Like I enjoyed the movie. I won't say that I had a bad time, but I felt like there was so much more potential that it just didn't live up to. What were your thoughts coming out?
Well, I mean, I guess, I didn't really have too many expectations going into the movie. Again, I haven't, I guess, been keeping up with the films and things that have been coming out. And you had mentioned this one to me and we were like, oh, we should totally watch this because this seems like something to be right up your alley. And it totally is. Like, I even had the concept for writing a movie that was very similar to this at one point. Totally different way that they went about it than I did, which is totally understandable. I mean, we always get multiple movies like, Olympus Has Fallen and White House is Down or White House Down, all that sort of stuff. Like, so, I mean, every story's been told. So it's not like they stole my idea. I'm not saying that, but like, I love the concept of this. It's also similar to the concept of kind of like Deadpool in a capacity, right? So yeah, I really enjoyed it, but I guess I went into it with lower expectations than you did. So to me, I think it actually delivered more than what I was anticipating. Because again, when you get into these kind of like time loop movies and things like this, it's very easy to go the wrong direction, or to go way over the top and just continually be like repetitive to the point that you're like, okay, this isn't really entertaining or fun anymore. So I thought they balanced that really well. Given the circumstances.
Fair. That's very fair. Getting into spoilers now, I think that one of the biggest problems, I mean, how long, do you know how long this movie is?
In terms of like the actual runtime?
The actual runtime.
I feel like it's an hour and 50 minutes. I feel like it's almost 2 hours.
Nope. Hour and 34 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Do you know how long it takes before he actually figures out, or decides he wants to do something about the fact that he's stuck in a time loop and dying day in, day out?
Like in terms of the
minutes, how long does it take?
Tracker point, like where he finds the tracker?
No, to the point where he, I guess maybe tracker. Yeah, the tracker. Sure.
75 minutes?
I mean, it's 45 minutes.
45 minutes? Okay.
Halfway through the movie before he decides he's going to do something about the fact that he is living the same day over and over and getting killed every day. Like that, to me,
that's entirely fair.
It is. That is exactly. I stopped the movie when it happened. When he's like, "Okay, now I have to do something." Like I stopped it.
No. I'm not saying you're wrong at the estimation of the time of when it happens. I believe that. I'm just saying, like, I think he is genuinely trying to do something. It's just that he doesn't know they're tracking them. So he kind of is like telling you, like, it doesn't really matter what I do. They always find me. Like, they always catch up to me and they always kill me. And so I like, because if he wasn't doing or trying to do anything, he would just lay in bed and get killed over and over and over and over again.
No, but he literally, the first time that we see him get to the diner, he's like, I just tried to get to this diner so that I can get to drinking. Like, that is it. Like, that's his whole day until the point where he decides, oh, if I can just get, the tracker out and then figure out more stuff. Either way, what I'm saying is that...
But you don't feel like you would be in that same type of mindset if you'd lived through that for like 6 months of just repetitive stuff and no matter what you tried, you just always died? You don't think you would be like, okay, well, I'm at least going to go get crap-faced because I've never made it past 1247 or whatever it is.
I am sure that I would be exactly the same way. However, I'm talking about watching a movie, the movie where something
True
needs to happen story wise. Now, action wise, that whole 45 minutes, action is happening. Things are happening over and over, but progressing the story does not happen. Like it just, I don't know if they think that they're filling us in or giving us backstory, but I just feel like it's, hey, how many cool ways can we see Frank Grillo get killed?
The answer is a lot.
This is true.
For anyone at home, if you want to make a drinking game out of this, don't, because you'll be dead.
You will be dead, and you won't come back like Frank Grillo does.
That's true.
It's a very stylized movie. You get to see all kinds of cool explosion, kills, deaths. Like he's even wearing cool clothes. Like when they introduce the one assassin that looks just like him and they make comment about it, I was like, that's so weird. And then of course it comes up later so that he could use the fact that the guy looks like him so that he can get into the building. And I was like, I don't think that was clever enough now. Like, I don't think it was a good reason to have a lookalike in the movie. Mel Gibson in this role, like, why? Not that I'm like saying, they misused him, but like, I feel like you probably paid a lot of money to have Mel Gibson in this movie when you didn't need to pay a lot of money for that role. But it's got Naomi Watts in it. Once again, not much of a role.
That's probably the most they could afford. You know what I mean? Like some of that feels like they just, we're putting bankable names on the movie and like they can only afford them to come out for like a day or two. And so they're like, okay, we got to get all the parts and stuff. And I mean, like even the appearance of Will Sasso, I was like, I was like, okay, that's a little weird, but he does it. I mean, he's enjoyable to watch. Like I still laughed at his stuff. So,
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think Naomi Watts, Mel Gibson, and Michelle Yeoh all came in for a total of a day to film their parts, and they got paid their scale, and then they left, and the rest was left for Frank Grillo to do, and all these other stunt people. Who was your favorite assassin out of the group?
Oh man, that's tough.
I mean, you had the two ladies that you see a lot of. The one of the ladies has a antique gun that she uses to kill people with.
Yeah, that was pretty twisted.
It was a very funny exchange of words. There's the gentleman that uses the harpoon gun out of the back of his truck to drag the dead body through the streets. There is the little person that is all about using explosives. Kaboom, that's right.
Yep.
There is the Asian woman who uses a sword and repeats her name.
Guan Yin. I'm Guan Yin, and I have done this.
No, and Guan Yin has done this.
And Guan Yin has done this. Yeah, that's probably the one that stays with you the most because of the repetition that they do with that. But yeah.
Like there's just, there was... I do love all the personalities, and I think that is where the video gameness of this comes in. The bad guys all have these very much, bad guy milestones or level bosses that you go to eventually get
like
to the
sub bosses. Basically.
Yeah, sub bosses. Thank you. I should have waited for the video game person to chime in, and then yes, you finally get to the main boss, which would be Mel Gibson in this, but honestly, like it's not like it was much of a fight when he had to fight Mel Gibson. Not even much of a fight when he had to fight Will Sasso, which they try and make Will Sasso up to this, big ex Blackwater, kind of security guard, personal security for Mel Gibson, but not much happens there either.
Yeah, no, but I mean, no, but I think more happens in that than happens in Equilibrium. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to talk about anticlimactic boss showdowns, that one takes the cake for sure. But yeah, and it's one of those things where I think it's like his thing with these other sub bosses is this whole like repetitional kind of get to know you. It's almost comical, like how many times he's been killed by them and killed them. And I think it's like when you get to what Will Sasso and Mel Gibson's characters did to him, it's not fun to him. It's very much that's the moment that's motivated by revenge, whereas the rest of it's motivated by like almost this kind of witty back and forth murderous banter, if you will, which is a sentence I never thought I would ever say in my life. But that's what it kind of feels like. So I'm okay with that. I get why that's the case and why his motivation is so much different for, fighting Will Sasso and or killing Will Sasso and Mel Gibson's character the ways that he does, and how it's quicker and it's over with,
Was that, I have the thing right here. The guy in the helicopter, was that Gronkowski, the football player?
Yes, it was.
Was it?
Yeah.
I'm
99% sure that it was. I guess I could look it up, but I'm pretty doggone sure it was.
Okay, yeah. I'm pretty sure it was too. So yeah, it was Gunner, Rob Gronkowski. Like that's nice. I thought was super weird.
It is weird, but I mean, again, it's funny. I'm down with it. It would have been funnier if it was Tom Brady, just because of how many times he's repeatedly won the effing Super Bowl. Like the repetition side of that would have not been lost on me. But I guess Gronkowski's right there with him because he was on his team for all of that too. So
it's true for a lot.
There
of that,
you go.
Yeah.
Little Easter egg for all you football fans out there.
Did you think that he was going to make it to Naomi Watts' character in the little bit of time that he has? Like, obviously, it's that type of movie, so yes. But like, I didn't even think that was going to be a thing until they brought it up in the very last minute of, oh, she's alive for 7 minutes after I wake up.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I thought that was going to be one of those situations where they were like, she was dead the night before or something. Like I kind of didn't really think that they were going to bring her back in that capacity. I mean, I guess they should have because they talk about it with like the Osiris thing. But for some reason, I just thought it was going to be this thing where like he had to explain, no matter how it worked out, eventually when he stopped the time loop, I figured he was going to have to explain to the son that your mom's gone and it's just you and me now. Like I thought that was going to have to be the outcome, but yeah, that's not where they went with it.
It's not. Directing wise, this was Joe Carnahan. I'm a big fan of Joe Carnahan's. I like a lot of his movies. A-Team, The Gray. Apparently he makes a cameo in this movie. Smoking Aces, the Narc. He is also producing the American version of The Raid.
He's directing it as well.
Is he directing it? Okay.
Yeah, he's directing it as well. And yeah, it is actually an adaptation of the Indonesian Matt Evans. I think it's Matt Evans, right? Or Garth Evans?
Garrett Evans?
Garrett Evans, yeah, who was the original kind of like director of it. So yeah, they're actually going to do a Hollywood interpretation of that. And from what I understand, that's the first Indonesian film that has ever been adapted by Hollywood. So this is pretty crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be there for that too, just because I enjoyed the first one and I liked Dread, which is kind of like
it's basically the same. Yeah, it totally is, but with Dread, and I'm about it. It worked. It worked very well. I thought both of them were great movies, and I enjoyed them both.
Anybody else stand out in particular in this movie for you?
I mean, I think all of the characters they got work really well. Like you said, there's definitely a unique identity and personality to kind of all the additional assassins that are in here, which again, anyone that knows me knows that I'm a sucker for assassin movies of any kind. And so, yeah, I think all of them did really well. Again, yeah, the Mel Gibson and the Naomi Watts thing very much feels like just attaching some more bankable names on there and, probably paid them to come out as like day players or something like that. But I thought all of the primary assassins just did a really great job. And obviously anything that, we already talked about, but with like Frank Grillo, like I'm there. I'll watch it. I think he's awesome. He's badass at action. So
as a gamer, how upset were you when they described Street Fighter as a 8-bit side scroller?
Well, I mean, yeah, that's kind of funny. I mean, it does side scroll, but whatever. I mean, it's definitely different. It's a fighting game, but it's okay. I mean, it's what can you do, right? It's in there. I mean, the moments that happen with it and the interaction between him and his son are nice. And again, I think those are kind of those little nuanced moments you get that kind of elevate it beyond just being a completely mindless action film, which is kind of what I was thinking we were going to get. And there's a little bit more substance to it than just that. I mean, obviously it is a very it's a very stylized movie. It's definitely more style over substance, but I think the little sprinkles of substance that you do get, I think, make it worthwhile. And the whole way that they tied that in with like him finally realizing that he has a tracker, or showing to us that he's causing interference in the electrical magnetic realm within the arcade games and the PlayStations and all that sort of stuff that are in there. You know what I mean? Like, I thought that was kind of a nice little touch,
Yeah, no, there are a lot of little nice things in there. My overall feel for the movie is that it had much better potential or much more potential than what we got. I don't know exactly what I was expecting. It's a movie. It's about fighting and it's about explosion. It's about shoot 'em up. So why would I want more? I enjoy that for everything else. So why, I don't know what else I was going for. So I cut you off. So sorry.
No. I was interrupting you, but I was just going to say that's probably the most video game thing that you could say. I was hyped up and then I didn't get what I was expecting. I thought it'd be so much more. That's like that's the entire video game industry right now, is everyone just, they market the hype out of shit to a massive amount, and then the game comes out and they're like, oh, well, okay, it's like kind of good, but not really what you hyped up. So just tying the video game thing back in from that perspective.
I appreciate that. I mean, I did love it at the end when she's like, hey, you're going to go through one more time, but you're not going to have any more lives. Like, it will be your life. If you die, you die. And I was like, we finally hit the last life, like, kind of thing, which I enjoyed immensely. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, and then they don't show it either, which is pretty funny. Like, it just kind of happens, and then we get that knife kind of hitting the headboard or whatever, and then it kind of goes to the credits. So
yeah, that's the one thing. So that was another thing. How could it in there? Like, are we saving it for the next movie?
I don't know. I mean, it's either that or he fucked up and died. He got too cocky and then died right out of the gate. I mean, there's definitely a little room for interpretation there, but it's probably just because they were like, you know what? Like, we just spent an hour and a half showcasing this. I don't think we need to see him go through it again. So, but I mean, I think it's implied that he
makes it,
has everything figured out, and is going to get his wife and his son back.
But you're in this situation. Do you go through one more time doing the exact same thing because you know all the moves that are going to happen, but this time you actually have the fear of, if I die, I die. Like all the other times you're like, oh, if I die, it gets to start over.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I think at this point, I mean, he's spent so much time doing this. I think it's just like muscle memory. Like, I think he's got it figured out now. He knows what he's doing. And he's, getting his wife and kid back.
Okay. I think it is. I would love to hear what everybody else thinks. Like what it is that, does he make it through? Does he die? If he dies, does the world end? Like, does it not stop the Osiris clock or whatever the hell it's called? Spindle. That's right.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, maybe we'll get a boss level 2. I mean, this is kind of like action exploitation, so they did it with Crank, right? I mean,
true.
So Who knows? I mean, could be.
See, Chris Borey and Eddie Borey are the writers of this, and they wrote Open Grave, which I've told you many times to go watch. I'm assuming you still haven't watched it, which stars Sharlto Copley, which was Hardcore Henry.
Yeah, and
or in Hardcore Henry.
I love him too. I really do need to watch it. You've told me too many times, and I have no excuses.
You really don't. But yeah, they wrote that in 2013, and then they wrote this. Like, that's interesting. Let's see, we got camera and electrical department in between. So, anything else you'd like to say about the movie?
No, I mean, I totally agree with you. I would love to hear anyone else's opinion on this. I think it's a really kind of just, it's a fun movie. Like, it's something that you can kind of just throw on and not have to think too much about. And again, there's some little moments that are sprinkled in there that I think just kind of elevate it above just a completely mindless action movie. But this is definitely a really fun popcorn movie. I mean, this is definitely something to watch and to kind of take your mind off of everything for a little while and just let yourself have a good time with it.
Were you ever expecting there to just be a moment when like the everything kind of essentially became a Star Trek: The Next Generation holodeck like kind of thing, like where everything just kind of turned off and he's like, oh, I was in a video game this whole time?
No, I never really felt that way. I mean, that would have been an interesting approach. Like if they would have gone through the whole thing and then that knife hits and he wakes up and then they're like, oh, just kidding. You don't even have a wife and a kid. You're just in some like Delta Force training program thing. Like that would have been so effed up. He just spent like the last like 2 years of his life in a time loop getting to know a wife and a kid he doesn't even have. Like that would have been super morbid, but I guess that reveals a lot about me because that's where my mind went.
See, and I did think that at some point we were going to get like, program shut down kind of thing, and it never happened. So that's where my mind went, I guess.
Yeah, I would have been fine with any of those. I think all of them would have been intriguing.
Okay. If you want to talk to me about this movie or any of the things that we talked about today, find me on Twitter. I am at Mitchipedia GEM. GEM stands for Geek Elite Media. Richard, where can people find you online?
So the easiest way to find me is just go to ricowen.com, RICOWN.com. And then again, I don't know if I can say that. I mean, just go to .com. Different if I do it that way, right?
That's right.
Yeah, you can see all my social media links on there and even some of my virtual video game photography since we're talking about video games.
There you go.
Sort of.
The rest of Geek Elite Media is at Geek Elite Media on Twitter, at Geek Elite Media on Instagram, and Facebook.com/Geek Elite Media is our Facebook page. Check out archived episodes of this podcast and other podcasts on our network on our website, geekelitemedia.com. Check out our Patreon, patreon.com/Geek Elite Media for material that you can only get if you're one of our patrons. And whatever podcatcher you're using, please rate and review us. It helps spread the word of our network. But until next time, this is the Mitch and Rich Show on the Geek Elite Media Network saying always remember to geek out.
Geek out.
This concludes our broadcast.